From Forex Traders Daily, this is your daily analysis with Ross Mullins, live from Richmond, Virginia.
Hello everyone, this is today's video analysis for September 15th, 2016. In today's video, instead of concentrating on one single currency pair, we're going to take a look at each of the U.S. currency pairs as we anticipate over the next couple of days, today and tomorrow, some heavy news out of the U.S. A slew of news coming out at 8:30 today and a little bit coming out tomorrow. We also have earlier today had some news for the franc and the UK earlier today, which largely seems unaffected in the market at the current moment, but definitely watching the U.S. data for some directional purpose on each of the U.S. currency pairs today. And so I don't have any open trades at the moment. Probably wait for another 35-40 minutes before I see how the market interprets that news before looking for any new trades. But let's take a look at each of the pairs and see what we might expect, whether it's positive news or negative for the U.S. over the next 2 days. First off, starting here on the USDCHF, of course, like I said, we did have the S&P news earlier today at 3:30 a.m. Eastern U.S. time. Market was largely unaffected by that news. We see a little bit of a spike higher earlier today into the mid to upper 97s, but came right back down into the current day's open. So nothing really significant there. Take a look at this yellow zone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days now finding resistance underneath there. Positive news out of the U.S. We're probably going to look for the breakout above this yellow zone. And so if we get a slew of positive news, we look for the break of 97.55 and the push towards the orange zone at least, or higher, would be back towards the 9,800 level. So positive news sends it through the yellow zone and higher, which it hasn't really done significantly over the past 5 days. Negative news, if we get some negative sentiment on that news, we look for it to continue to hold this resistance and start working its way down to the blue zone, of course, where it's found support over the past week or so, and underneath there we look for it to go lower. And this is nothing really new that we haven't talked about in the trade room, but definitely want to solidify that in your minds just in case we see some surprise news at 8:30 today or even 8:30 tomorrow with the U.S. data. So largely unaffected by S&P, but watching the U.S. data, positive news for the U.S. would send this back higher again, looking for it to go back up again through the yellow zone. Negative news, we likely look for it to go down to the blue zone or lower here for the U.S. franc, and I think it could go either way. In this case, we're looking at the middle of a range that we've been studying in the live trade room, so it could go up or down, but we'll have to wait and see how that news is affected in the market. Taking a look at the euro, not too different here on the euro. If I zoom it out to the daily time frame real quick and push it in like this, take a look at that blue box. We've been, again, kind of stuck in a period of congestion, waiting for something to really give it a kick in the pants to get out of this range. We didn't see the S&P do anything for the franc today, so it hasn't really bled over here to the euro as well. We do, of course, have a slew of U.S. data at 8:30. Could be the kick in the pants that the market needs. If you bought the yellow zone over the past couple of days, it's been profitable back to the orange zone. You can see it pushing from the yellow zone to the orange zone yesterday. Then it turned right back around and went back to the yellow zone. So if you sold the orange zone, went back to the yellow zone. So again, it's been kind of bouncing around this congestion. We need something to push it outside this range. And again, I think it could go either way. Positive news for the U.S. If it's all largely positive and the market views it as positive, we'll look for the break of the green zone. Or sorry, not the break of the green zone, break of the yellow zone, and for this to go down. So positive news looks for the break of the yellow shaded area back down to the pink zone or the green zone as it goes back down. If it's negative for the U.S., likely a break of the orange shaded area and a push to the blue shaded area all the way at the top of the chart. So negative for the U.S. sends the euro dollar higher, positive for the U.S. sends it back down. I think that's what we're going to be waiting on in just about 30 minutes from now in the recording of this video. Taking a look at the GBPUSD, we did have some news out of the UK earlier today. We had at 4:30 a.m. retail sales came out fairly positive for the UK at that retail sales data. Market largely unaffected then, waiting for the monetary policy and bank rate vote, and that came out as expected. Nothing really surprising there at 7 a.m. just about an hour ago. We didn't get anything surprising, so the market didn't do anything surprising. If you've been around for the past few days, you know that we sold the pink shaded area up here. We sold it up into the 1.33s. Significant profit, about 200 pips of profit seen on the trade. We locked in with the stop loss, couldn't lose on the trade, closed a majority of the profit as it went to the green zone and then the blue zone. So profitable trade all the way around. Then the market came back up, took us out at our stop loss right about where that little dashed red line is, and then went back down. So out of the trade at the current moment, waiting for a new opportunity. Positive news for the U.S. We look for resistance into the green zone and a continuation back to the blue zone. That's the positive movement for the U.S. And of course, under the blue zone, we look for it to continue to go lower. And that's really what we've been talking about. Look at it underneath the red trend line. Negative for the U.S. would likely see the opposite reaction, back above the green zone and start targeting back towards the pink shaded area here for the GBPUSD. Taking on over to the USDCAD, take a look at this range. This is the daily time frame. Look at the black box that's on the chart. We are at the very top of that range. We've tested even over the past several hours the green shade area. Take a look at the last time we tested that green shade area. Let me just take this blue box right here and see the blue box that you're seeing right there on the chart. The market found resistance there and reversed from where that blue box is. So I'm not saying that's what's going to happen now. I'm just saying, take a look at that. It's a very discouraging place to go long on the USCAD. Now, positive news for the U.S. If we get some positive news for the U.S., we're likely to see the break of this resistance and a continuation of the current uptrend that we're seeing. So positive news sees this go up. Negative, if it comes out with any negative sentiment on the U.S. data today, we could be looking for reversal once again from this resistance level. So don't really feel comfortable in buying it right here. More likely, especially if we get some negative news out of the U.S., we'll be watching for clues to reversal from this resistance zone. Taking over here to the U.S. yen, just getting kind of bouncing around, hasn't it, here between the green, the yellow, and the pink shaded areas. Over the past several hours, just kind of stuck between 102.50 and 102.15. You can see it right here in the yellow shaded area. So positive for the U.S. would send it back higher towards the green shaded area. That would be positive U.S. data, back towards the green zone. Negative, we look for it to head back down towards the pink zone. Green zone is 103.15. Pink zone, 101.60. So we really need to break out about outside this yellow zone and see what the sentiment is after the news. Taking a look at the AUDUSD, we've been focusing in on going short and selling this currency pair because that's the direction the market's been going in over the past week, but we've settled down into support. Zooming in here on the daily, look at this orange shaded area. Past 3 days now, today included, 3 days finding support at the orange zone. So what do we need? We need some movement. We need the US dollar to gain strength or lose strength. Negative sentiment for the US dollar. Negative sentiment. We would look for it to bounce off this orange zone and start going back up at minimum to the yellow zone, if not higher, back up to the pink shaded area up here. That would be negative sentiment on U.S. data. Positive sentiment on U.S. data, we'll look for the breakdown of that support where we are right now and a turn back lower to the next support, which at least would be the blue zone or lower. So positive sends it lower, negative sends it back higher. It's not too hard to see that this is a significant decision point. Looking at the green circle and blue box back here, you can see significant support there, 74.45, 74.65. We need some movement, either below it or above it, before we have a new trade opportunity here for the Australian dollar. And lastly, moving to the New Zealand dollar. We've had a little bit of a mix here over the past couple of days here on the New Zealand dollar. Early yesterday, took a sell at the 72.80 level, 72.80. Saw about 15 to 18 pips of profit on that first initial sell yesterday, and then the market went up, took us out at our stop loss, which was about a 30 pip stop loss. So we lost about 30 pips as it spiked higher. Then the market turned back down. As it started coming back down, I entered it a second time yesterday, posted it to the notifications for members, 72.85. We're able to capture that profit back, or capture that loss back, I guess, down to 72.50. So we gained 35 pips on the second entry, lost 30 pips on the first entry. So overall net, we were net about 5 pips of profit on the 2 entries taken yesterday on the New Zealand dollar. So what do we look for today? Positive sentiment for the U.S. Of course, we look for what we've been looking for the past few days. Resistance here into the orange shaded area, targets down towards the green shaded area, and of course under the green shaded area, we look for it to continue to go lower. That's positive for the U.S. Negative, we'll likely look for the breakout back above the orange zone, targets the pink shaded area at minimum back into the mid 7300s for the New Zealand dollar today.
From Forex Traders Daily, this has been your daily analysis with Ross Mullins. If you would like to get Ross's analysis on all the currency pairs he's watching and all the trades he takes today, join him in his live trade room by clicking on the link below. Please leave any comments you have about today's video in the comments section below.